if you hold a second to start, and I think we should be good. It's recording now.
Fantastic. I'm looking for the Slack link where we can.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was looking for.
We do have a GDG NYC Slack, which I confess I haven't used in a while. Let me just find it. But why don't we start, Madonna, and I will find the chat, the Slack link where we can take any questions between our sessions.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to session 2 of the Study Jam. And if you were here last time, we went through a simple Kotlin introduction, and then today we're going to be doing 2 codelabs. And I believe last time we went through it pretty quick, where we launched an application, we used an emulator, and then we were able to just print. I don't remember if we printed out any hello world, but today we can do something like that where we're just going to make a simple birthday card. But before I start, I just want to see from and then as Anna said, today sessions is not going to be very long. It's going to be shorter because there's other obligations, but I want to see we have 26 attendees today. So please, in the chat, I want to know where you're from and where you're joining us from, and let's get to know each other a little bit, like in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Please let me know where you're from. And why are you interested in Android? As I drink my water. I'm waiting. We have amazing 27 attendees. Who's gonna start the chat up? Good. Yes, let's go. Hello, Chicago. Hello, NYC. Oh, Canada, that's amazing. Hi from Canada. New York, that's great. Ontario, perfect. I think we're neighbors. Still waiting, Colombia, nice. Atlanta, Albany. Nigeria, that is beautiful. What time is it in Nigeria right now? I bet it's nighttime. NYC, cute. What time is it in Abuja? 11 p.m. Oh, good time to study. However, I feel like these days, I just want to wake up maybe at 5 and try to do something at that time. Like I can't stay up until 11. I just want to sleep. I want to sleep at exactly 9 or 10 at most because I'm exhausted. From New York, good. Yeah, New Yorkers. Cool. If you're joining us, I'm just asking people to tell us where they're joining from as we wait. And also, if you've not installed Android Studio, please go ahead and do that. And then sad news, I brought my monitor today and I tried to fix it in this room that I'm using because I'm using my kids' room. And then it broke. I mean, I'm sad about that. I broke my monitor. So I think I need to go buy a new one. Well, it's a tale for another day. I know. I was just trying to fix it to connect it to the wire there, to the power. And then for some reason it went like this, and then I don't know, and then it was done. But that's okay. Yeah, that's great, great. I think that's great introduction. If you've not introduced yourself and tell us where you're from, please feel free to do that. As we start, I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and then I'm gonna show what Colab we're going to be going through today. So I'm going to share my screen. So unfortunately, I feel sad about that because it means we'll have to be like. So if you can't see my screen, please shout in the chat, and then I can see it. And then also maybe Anna can ping me so that I can switch it over to where everybody can see. So I'm gonna start. If I maybe share my full screen instead of a window. Let me see how that works. Because I'm gonna be here and everybody can see my inbox, okay. But I won't be able to see the chat once I navigate away. But I feel like that's okay. We can just walk through this together. I'll just be coming back to the chat from time to time.
We can let you know if something happens in the chat.
Yes, because I want to make sure that I keep my interaction up with my attendees. But because my monitor did that thing.
Yes, Madonna, Linda and I will monitor the chat.
Thank you very much. So here we are. Can everybody see my screen? Great. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to design a birthday card. And if you remember last time, what we did was kind of like played with the Kotlin playground, and we didn't do a lot. We tried to kind of like print the next line, print. We also did print a happy birthday, but not too much details. So I would recommend definitely if you get your own time, just going through this alone. It helps a lot. And then as you can see, we're going to do this 1 and 2. And I'm going to take the first one. I'm going to start with the first one here, which has an introduction. And basically what we're doing today is creating a simple birthday app. And as you can see, the prerequisite here is how to create a new app in Android Studio, how to run an app in the emulator or on your device. I feel for the device I can show it in the next session before we finish the sessions, because I did not bring my cable and my phone is new, so I need to configure it for that. And then what you will learn, what are your user interface elements such as views and view groups, and how to display text in a text view in an app, how to display text in a text view in an app, how to set attributes such as text, font, margin on a text view. So basically this is just basics. As you can see, this is what we're gonna write, and we're gonna save from Emmer. So before we even do that, so that's just what we'll be doing. So here we go. So let me just run you down one by one. So this is the screen we'll see when we say start an application, and I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna launch my Android Studio. As it launches, it takes time a bit. I want to see in the chat there how many people have already installed Android Studio. I think only one person had not installed it. I think the video is going to be posted on GDG NYC YouTube. That's what we've been doing. Oh, beautiful. So we've installed. Oh, nice. I think I see familiar faces from the previous one, which is awesome.
Actually, the event page has a feature that after the event, after the video is saved and it's uploaded to YouTube, we can post it even. So the attendees can go to check the event page, and it will be at the top of the event that they went today.
Okay, great. Okay, so I think what I gained from that is that if you attended the event, you should see a link or something. But that said, I think what I want to do right now is, as I wait for my Android Studio to launch, I think it's launched. Oh, you can actually see my screen now, right? Do you see the Android? Do you see Android Studio? Good, 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 good. I like that. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start a new project. Let's go together. We're gonna start a new project, and please let me know if I'm faster, and then I can slow down a bit. I think last time we had several questions about if I was gonna create a compost activity or not, but based on this code lab, we're just gonna do an activity, which is going to be just an empty activity. And then we're going to go to next. And then in next here, we're going to check, and the title or the name of the app is Happy Birthday. And the package name here, as I remember mentioned before, why we emphasize on having com.example for the package name is just for identification when it's in the Play Store, if you ever launch it. And then the last thing here is what the name of your app. So here in the middle, you don't have to put example. You can put your real name. For instance, my app, let me show you what I mean. So if I go here and say budgeting buddy, if you see the here, this is what I mean. So this is like the package name here. See, it has a com, my name, and the name of the app. So that's why it's always important to just have an identifier that when somebody wants to see your app, they can access it pretty easily. So I'm gonna go back here and open my Android Studio again and say happy birthday. And please let me know if you don't see my screen. I'm trying to make sure. As you can see here, it has my name as default, because those are my project, and then now happy birthday. Is everybody there with me? Let me see some thumbs up or thumbs down, and I can slow down. Cool. So when I say finish, what it's going to do, it's just going to take me to the project itself, and Gradle and everything will start syncing. This takes a while, so I can just go back here to the code gem and we can keep reading. Also here, we forgot to pick the minimum SDK, but I remember talking through the minimum SDK last time. Please, if you have a question on that, you can ask me, and then definitely I will just put in the chat and I will answer that. But I remember we went through where we picked this one here. So here we can read through this a bit. The user interface UI of an app is what you see on the screen. Text, images, buttons, and many other types of elements. It's how the app shows things to the user and how the user interacts with the app. And actually, that mentioned there are professions such as UI and UX engineer that, I mean, we work with those people very together, because you can't be like, unless you want to build your own app, it's pretty hard to be both an UI engineer and then, I mean, I'm building the app. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. And each of these elements is what's called a view. Almost everything you see on the screen of your app is a view. Views can be interactive, like clickable buttons or editable inputs. In this code lab, you will work with a kind of view that is for displaying text, and is called text view. The views in an Android app don't just float on the screen by themselves. So views have relationship to each other. For example, an image may be next to some text, and buttons may form a row. So it's a lot. And as you can see, this is an example of a view group where there's more views. And what a better way to see this in the Android Studio. So I hope everybody can see my screen. I also want to be seeing the chat, because it's good to just see what's happening from time to time. If there's a question, let me see. Do we have any questions here? Yeah, I think it's okay to go with the API 19, but I feel like if you're working in a company, definitely many right now would recommend that based on what you're building and the kind of support that will be needed to actually support the people using 19. So for instance, like in our company, our minimum is 21. And I've seen new jobs these days, like just advertise themselves like, hey, our minimum is 24, which makes things much easier. And like starting to build from 19 and going down. But it's a bit of a hassle, but definitely once you're in there, it's not that hard. So this is exactly what we see. Let me zoom in my views. Well, I'm just gonna zoom in using this. And because again, my monitor did that thing to me, which is pretty sad. I'm gonna see this screen. I hope everybody can see this. Let me move this a little bit like this. I will definitely be moving it back and forth so that we can see. So you can check the design. This is where you see the design. When I click here, you can see it highlights that. And then on this side, on this panel here, there's all these things you can do to this particular text. There's a lot of things you can do. You can delete it, which is just you put that and press delete, and it will go away. And you can definitely undo, and it comes back. So you can do a split, which is where you see your code. Mostly I like doing a split so that I can just see the text that I'm working with and the view that and how it looks like. And actually feel like this is what actually Compose is doing right now, where you write the code, the view populates automatically, right? So you're writing your code, your views are just being rendered here as you write the code, which is super awesome. But we also have the code where you don't see anything else. This is mostly when I want to debug some issue, maybe on a motion layout. And I just want to see the code by itself, not the view mostly. But a split is okay, or design is okay. For today, let me see what the recommendation is. If we come back here, I think it wants us to use the design view right here. So we're going to use the design view. Just 1 minute. Just want to make sure. Yeah. So the views here, we're gonna use this one. So if you're following along with me in the collab, I think the next step that we need to do is look into what I want to actually recommend and advise is make sure when you get time, you do the exercises that are always given and read through this codelabs. Because I know sometimes reading through it, like if we are reading through it together right now, it will take a lot of time. And we would stay here for longer just going through like number 7, number 8. But definitely always look through these notes if you have a question like, hey, and what is an attribute? And what is how do you do this? But I can see the first step here. They just want us to replace this text. It says here, change it to say happy birthday, then press enter. But let me see if we have any other instructions. Okay, double click on activity, then this opens the XML in the layout editor and shows the layout it describes in the design view. Okay, note in this codelab, you will frequently be asked to open a file like a previous step with a shorthand. This may be abbreviated as open.res instead of listing each step separately. Look at the component tree. Notice that there's a constraint layout. Yeah, this is what I was saying here. So what holds this together is this constraint layout. So before we had relative layout, and then we had, so relative it would just look like they would show where you can arrange like rows and columns, and then we had linear layout, which looked linearly. So they realized that that was pretty hard to maintain, and then they came up with the constraint layouts, which is much easier to use because you can move this text here and it stays there. And you can have as many views as you want, and you can move them anywhere. So before moving it like that was pretty hard, was not easy. But right now, you can just play around with it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna change the text. So that's why I said you can always play around here. You can change the text here. Happy birthday. There we go. And as you see in the design, it says happy birthday. I want to see in the chat how many people did that. Am I too fast? Am I too slow? Anybody done good? I know this is pretty beginner. I know when I even do it, is when I like the stuff I walk in and I'm like, oh my God, this is beginner. It's super awesome. Like I'm reminding myself how I used to do these things, even though these days I do totally different stuff. Done. So we have 34 attendees. I want to see that chat. Is it hard? Is it too easy? We have people that have said done and yes. Okay, I feel like other people maybe are behind. We're still working on it. Maybe as we wait on them, we can, before they mention in the chat, we can keep going a bit. So once you've written their happy birthday, let's go back here and see what are the next steps. So one of the amazing thing, oh yeah, let me show you something else. So one of the amazing things that you'll see is once you highlight this text here, text view, things are gonna come up. And these things are like where you can actually change the font of this particular text view. For instance, if you want to use a font like, let's say, Monoscape, it will automatically change to Monoscape. See, the font changed. If you want to change, you have to select it. If you want to change it to, let's say you want to change the text color to something different, you can just come here and do either red, either blue, and you see it changes. As you can see, it changes as I just click. If you want to make it that color, that's how you change the color. You can also come here and say you want to put a size. For instance, I want it to be 16. Or let's say I want it to be 34, which is going to be pretty big. That's how you change the size. And then select it again, and then you can play with, you can actually say you want to send it on this other side. Like there's alignment to be on this side. Or you can put it here, or you can, if this is mostly works very well if you have a lot of text and you want to wrap it like in the middle, you can do that. And also don't forget, you can do the bold, making this text bold. So this is pretty awesome part where you can always play around with your views. But interestingly enough is now that we have Compose coming up, I know it's going to be a different total way of doing all this. So there's going to be a lot more to learn too. But I feel like knowing the fundamentals or knowing the basics, this little basics, goes a long way, even though we have a new way of doing things. Just knowing that this is how we used to do, because it's pretty similar now that I looked at it. It's just that we don't have XMLs anymore, but the kind of like the you'll do the same. So the same code you see that comes here, because you'll see the code will come here. This is what we've added. We added the text size to be 34, the text color to be that, the alignment to be views that, the bold, you see, everything we added into this particular view came to this block of XML code. So that's how cool it is. So you can just edit it from there. And then if we move it to the corner here, it will constrain it to that, and then you will see that information there. Let me see if people in the chat played around with it. Anybody try that? Was I too fast? I'm waiting. I mean, don't be like me. I broke my monitor and then I'm sad a bit, but I'm trying to be happy. It's damn good. Anybody stuck? Let me know how you're finding it in the chat, please. Oh, sure. Yeah, I can show you that. Yeah. So this is where I click the design. And then once you highlight this, it will give you all the things you can do. There's so many things you can put in this particular text view, but mostly just make sure that it's what you need. But otherwise, if you don't need many things, don't put in there. But that's where you might want to change the color, set font, make it either bold or italic, because this is how you make it italic, just by pressing the italic, and there you go. It's italic. You can also remove it. Does that help? Make sure I'm just going slowly. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the codelab and see what else we need. So the next step, what we're gonna do, add text view to the layout. The basket card you're building looks different than what you have in your app now. Instead of the small text center, you'll need two larger messages on the upper left and the one on the lower right. In this text, you'll delete existing text view and add a new text view and learn how to position them with Constraint Layout. This is pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this one right here. Make sure you delete it. And then we're going to add a new text view and then try to position it using our Constraint Layout. So how you do this is, first of all, you can see we have commons. This is mostly used. So buttons are mostly used, image views, recycler views when you have a lot of lists, fragment containers. This is when you want to put things in your containers. And then as you can see here, input types, more buttons like image button, checkbox, radio button, toggle, switch, and then we have widgets. We have layouts, linear layout, linear, horizontal, linear layout, vertical frame layout, like that, containers. So here is where you choose whatever you want to use. But right here, this is what we want right now. So we're going to drag it and drop it in here. And as you can see, it came there. And what you need to do, as you can see here, the constraints are complaining because they're saying not horizontally constrained, not vertically constrained. So what happens now if you run this up like this? This particular text view will not be constrained to anything. So it will not even appear sometimes, or it will be up here where you can't even see it. So it's always good to just click on it. You can either drag, you can click either, so you can click on it and on this corners drag, and then you're turning the constraint to that side and this side. Make sure it goes that way. And then here, top of parent, and then down, either bottom, but mostly you can decide where you want to put it. And as you can see, it is like what we had before. And here now we can decide to bring it to this here and give some spacing on top for either the toolbar, and then we can have a bit of that. We can remove this constraint over here. You can always remove a constraint by clicking this particular button here, and then it goes away. Let me make sure it's going away. So here, yeah, there. I don't know why it was not going away, but now it's gone. But the reason why I've done that is if we want another view, we can take this other view and bring it here. And then we will constrain this view below this, like that. And now that's constrained. And as you can see, they're like two, this one is pointing here. So they will always be closer to each other. So I'm just going back to the chat to make sure I'm not going too fast. Has anybody done that? You know me, I'll always ask. Nice, nice. Anybody else stuck? Done, good. How are you finding it so far? I just want to see in the chat. Is it interesting? Is it tough? Is it hard to understand? Let me see. How is it? Simple to use, cool. I like that. Yeah. Going good so far, great. I like that. Thank you everybody for the feedback. I like that feedback so that at least you can, I'm not talking to myself here. Going good so far. Anybody else? I think we can do that as you wait for other people that, let me just open my, I know it's, let me try to see if, because now, let me try to see if I can just share that particular window because because I'm now more, I want to be opening as many. Yeah, just that. That is very true, Paul. I do that a lot. I like that. Well said. Yep. So you see our second part here. I'm just going to point on this before I go back to that code. It's still complaining. It's telling us that there are parts that are not constrained right here. So what we need to do, we can either do the same thing on that side and then do the same there. And then now we're going to drag this to right there. And it's good to say that sometimes design preference matters based on each particular team, because when you go to a UI, when a UI UX person comes to you, they might say, I actually need this, because they use Figma. Most of them use Figma. At least in our company, we use Figma. So they will come and say, actually, I want this to be constrained at this particular size. I want it not to be actually below this particular text view based on their need. So you will design based on what they're saying, which is pretty cool because it's teamwork. But here, let me see, let's go how I think now. If I wanted to go back to the collab, everybody can have it on their side. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna write, happy birthday, Sam. Let's try to change that text. So in our text view, now you can go ahead, our fast text view, and write. You can actually, so the interesting thing, you'll see your text view. So this is the text view right here. And this is so content description is always very important. I like mentioning this a lot because I feel like we need to always handle accessibility. And I'll say this to everybody here. I know everybody wants to become an Android developer, engineer, working in Android. It's always good to add content description. It helps people who cannot read, who cannot hear, and who cannot see, because those supports are in there. And when you add content description to everything you're doing, it helps a lot. But mostly not on text views, majorly on images that people can't see. So, because sometimes the text view is going to be read by the system, but it's good to just add content description on your images to enable accessibility, like build for everybody. So that's what I wanted to say about the content description. So here, let's actually go ahead and make this. So let me just, actually, what I'm going to do is actually come here and give this maybe a 34, which is pretty big. And I can make it bigger by expanding that like that. I wrap them and just move it a bit. So if we look at the code, we split this, we'll see how it looks. We have two text views, and then they have this. It's always good to say match parent and wrap content so that our views don't go where we don't want them to go. And then in here now, we can change this text to be, I always like extracting this to strings. As you see, it has an arrow. You can always click here and extract into a string resource. And then you will write a happy birthday. Oh, that's the string name. So it's going to be just happy birthday. And then here you can say happy birthday, Sam. I think it was Sam. And then once you click OK, the arrow will disappear. You see, it's not complaining anymore. It's happy. And you can always do Command B on this one, and it will take you to where it's defined, which is here in the string resource under the res folder in values strings. So that's where it goes. And if we go back to our design, we see we have that. And then the good thing is we can always add a bit of a padding in the beginning. So here it says 0. How about we go 8? So that we make sure that we're not in the 8. Or how about we go 16? And then maybe we can set in the end to end at 16. And then there we go. We have happy birthday, Sam. Okay, let me go back here and oh yeah, so that's what we have actually 16, 16. So, oh, we need to, something that I forgot. We need to make sure that our strings have, so we need, let me go back here and actually happy birthday, comma, Sam, exclamation. And then when I come back, because I have, it's just gonna be that, what I edited. See, you can edit from the string resource and it changes it automatically from here. It updates here, sorry. So having that, our next step is gonna be, we need to write from who. And as you remember, we added another text view down here. So we need to indicate where who that is. So this is gonna be from Emma. So we can use the same process. Come here, hover over it, extract string, and then call it from Emma. And then the text view is from Emma, full stop. Again, it's gonna stop complaining. And then when I click on this, it'll take us there. And as you can see, the strings are well collected now. If you want to change, it's pretty easy. You'll just go in there and change it. But now they're very well collected. And then in here, we can make from Emma a bit nicer. This one, we can just go to 0. And let's just check and make sure that we just put it over there. And then here from Emma, it's a bit small. So let's add the size. Maybe we go 16. 16 is not bad. So because at this side, it's a little bit to the corner, we can do 16 so that we make sure it's not all the way to the end. And what we can do next is maybe add some colors, and like I showed you in the previous one, we can play around with it. We can add some colors here. If let's say I want it to be, so here I can just do this and then put a 0 and just move it back up a bit. Well, it has 28. You need to reduce this to like 8. And then you can always move it to 0 a bit. Okay. Remove that. Oh, wait. Let me show you something. I think okay. Someone is crying in my house. I'm wondering why they're crying. So I added this constraint here, which was not a must have. So we can definitely get rid of this because it's already constrained to the other one. As you can see, it has this one. And we can come here and change the color. So let's say any favorite color you like. Purple is not bad, even though green is my favorite color. And then maybe from emerald, we can make from Emma bold and then give Emma text color. Ooh, that's not a good color. Red, no, that's not bad from Emma. And then I think the next step is to finally run it. So I'm gonna go and run this, and then this UI will be displayed on my 31 test phone. So let me see. Of course, I know that's not gonna show. So I'm gonna stop sharing this and share my entire screen again so that everybody can see my emulator. And that's the emulator. Everybody can see it, right? It's launching. Let me know where you are so far as it launches. Did you manage it? Did you play around with it? Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Make sure let me do this. That's how it sounds. Please make sure you make sure you play around with some of those styles. Just make it fancy, change it as you want. Still waiting for it to launch there. Yeah, it's still loading. It takes a bit, especially if it's the first time it's building it. So bear with me. It's still doing that. So one of the things that I've covered was making sure that we don't hard code our strings. As you've seen before, those strings were complaining, and when we hovered around them, we were just able to extract those strings easily. So those are great recommended patterns so that you don't just hard code all the strings down there. I don't know what happened there. I feel like I was dropped out of the call. Can everybody hear me? I just refreshed and came back in. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we hear you.
Uh,
I was going to.
I don't know what happened. I got dropped as well, and I was panicking.
Oh, yeah, me too. I got dropped. I was like, what just happened?
But it seems like everyone else is here, so that's good.
I
Yeah.
was here. I was going to to check what's going on with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, problem
That's
solved.
interesting. Yeah, problem solved. Okay. It always happens sometimes. And I'm very I just want to take this opportunity to thank all 35 attendees today. It means a lot to stick around. So that means a lot. Yeah, oh, I didn't even know so I'm a bit confused. So where did everybody get to see my emulator? Because that's where I was trying to show my emulator. So this is what I was sharing. Yeah, I wasn't because I was dropped and I was like, what's happening? So what I did, I was like, I realized that I'm dropped, and then I just refreshed immediately, and then I came back. Okay, so what I wanted us to do. Well, that's funny. I'm gonna type. Just I'm laughing because that's funny. I don't my laptop hanged due to try an emulator. It happens sometimes. It happens. I think as we wait for that to load, I'm wondering what is happening here. This app should have. Let me see if it already launched on my emulator and I can just see it. Happy. Oh, my application. No, it's called Happy Birthday, so it's not reflected here yet. So what's happening here? Okay, Grader is running. Okay, let me see on run. It's already running. Okay, so it wants me to quit that. Okay. Kill the process and then try again. But please let me know on the chat as I wait on my emulator that everybody has successfully launched the app as we wait on mine on my side. Well, let me share where I am. I'm going to share on this screen. I'm just trying to, it's still loading here. For some reason, mine got killed. Okay. Anybody else still successful? Oh, system UI not isn't responding. Mine works. Great. Great news. Because the next step, what we're going to do is just going to be simple. It's just adding an image view to display a birthday cake. So mine keeps saying it's waiting for all target devices to come online. Maybe have a network issue. Interesting to know. Oh yeah, that is true. You can use, yeah. I think I didn't set up my physical device, which is a bit slow, but that's great news. If it works on your side, please share on the chat. And then we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share this screen now so that we can look at adding an image view. So we created a birthday card. Now we need to add an image view. So what we need is this particular image that we need to go in the middle of our UI, right there. So we need to keep happy birthday and then Emma from Emma and then add that image view. Let me see if we have that image view in our Android stuff here. Let me see what image views we have. So first of all, if you want to add an image view, do the same thing as I did before, drag and drop it. And then I think it will give you options of either to pick something. That's why I'm wondering, where is our birthday? Let me see if they have any birthday images. Wait, there's nothing to show there. But you can, I think you can use any, so we can download a cake. Ooh, this look, I don't know, this one, ooh. This, all of this look amazing. I think I want to save the image. I'm just going to save it to the desktop. JPEG. So I saved it to the desktop, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to my resource folder, and that is in my drawables here. So you can either go, this is how sometimes you can do it. Go to your files where you downloaded it. It's on my desktop, right? I can copy it, and then I'll go to my projects, go to my Android Studio where they are, happy birthday, app, sauce, main, res, drawable, and paste it here. You can put it there or you can put it on this other one here. And if we refresh here, it should be, there it is. I hope everybody saw that step. I hope I was not too fast. Did everybody see that? How it came there? Let me stop sharing this so that I can share this window of where the JPEG lives now. So you just want to make sure you go through the directory of the app and then save it in and save it. It's getting dark here. And save it inside the drawables. So inside the drawables, what you're going to do is now when you click an image view, and it asks you which one you want to pick, you'll just pick the ones you have because you already brought one on board. And voila, you have that. So because this is not constrained, so now what we're going to do, we can now try to actually constrain this one here and then change our other constraints. Or we can just go like this. Let that stay there. And then actually this one now, we can remove the top constraint here and then have it go under our cake. And then we're gonna move it a bit like this. And then our cake need to be constrained on this side and that side. And down we don't worry as much. But here we're gonna move it a bit. And when you move it a bit, make sure you move the other two. You move this other one so that it doesn't get all mashed up. Let me just make sure that it's respecting that. It's respecting what we said. So here we see we have an error. So we want to see what this is. I just want to know if somebody has a clue what that error is about. Let me see in the chat. Anybody has a clue what that error is about? That little yellow thing. I'm waiting. Anybody know? Yes, there we go. Anybody else have any idea? But Abbas, you're right. It is the content description because we need to indicate what that is. So it's always good to just give it a clear content description. So just hover around here as always and set the content description. And you're right. Remember, it's always a string. It's good to make sure it's a clean string. And then you say birthday image. And then now you can just create that birthday image in strings. And then when the content description starts reading, it will read what you say, a cake. Definitely give it a good description, like what I did. And then it will say a cake. And if you run this application, you should have, let me see if the same thing happened to my emulator is still trying, it's really struggling to come online today. So did everybody manage to get that going? Let me see in the chat, please. Did everybody manage to get that going? And then in progress, good. I like that. For some reason, I don't know why this emulator says it's not online. Well, you can do that, but then that means you did not provide any. I mean, you can do that if you really want to do it, but then why are you choosing to say not important for accessibility? Maybe the image won't be usable. Yeah, if it's not, definitely put that there. But if you feel like this is something that accessibility should know or people should know about, make sure you add it. So definitely add those ones in icons that you feel like for instance, an icon that, okay, let me give you a good scenario. See when you have a password and then you have a key and then the password, right? You can have a little icon for a key on the side, and then you have the text password. You see, that isn't as necessary for accessibility as compared to the password, because it will read enter password already. So it's that little icon, just which is good for just UI experience, won't be necessary for accessibility. So that those ones you can definitely do that, not for accessibility. I hope that helps. Could you add the image view again? Not sure how to find the drawable. Yes. So what I did, I'm gonna show you, and I feel like my time is almost up. We can continue on the other session, but definitely before I go, I would like to take a picture with everybody. But we can run it on the next session because I think we're almost done. But let me show you how I did that. So I'm gonna go through my laptop. So this is where I downloaded the image, right? Where I saved the image. It's on desktop. So I can just copy, and then I need to go to where I've stored my Android Studio project, which is here. It's in my name. So I'm gonna double click on it, right? Once I double click on it, I need to find the app that I'm using, which is now Happy Birthday. And then inside Happy Birthday, I'll go through the app, because this is the directory of the app. And then the source, that's how it goes. And then we have main. And then inside main, we have that res folder. Let me just take you to that so that I can show what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this res folder. And as you remember, I went through the app too, but we didn't go through this one because you don't need this one. So the rest. And then once I'm in the rest, where was I? I was here. I'll come in the rest, and then I can paste it inside the drawable here. And that's how I just pasted it here, drawable. Like that, right there. I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Let me see how many people were able to run it. I think we are. Let me see how many people were able to run. No, it doesn't allow it doesn't allow only JPEGs. It can take a PNG too. You can refresh your Android Studio and it will definitely show up if you put it in the right res folder. And I think that's it. We can continue from there on the last session next week, because it's not going to be a lot. I know. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Linda.
So, do you like to have everybody for the
Oh yeah, it's great to see my attendees today too. Before I go, I need to go help my kids at school. They have something for school today.
They will have to accept the invitation that I'm sending to them in order.
Yeah, please save the project, everybody, so that we can continue from there next week and just see what we achieve. And thank you again very much for staying around.
Thank you, Madonna. Yes, we're gonna enable everybody real quick. And don't forget our next final session, where hopefully we can finish everything, and we can and you can win a grand prize in addition to your learnings.
Wow.
The Google Nest Hub Max, which is a pretty awesome device.
Wow, yeah.
But the requirement is if you have followed all of Madonna's instructions.
Yeah, who likes to turn on their cameras, you are free to do so. I'm still working on enabling everybody. I wish they had a feature to enable everybody in one click. Should I turn off the recording.
Yeah, if people don't want to be on YouTube next